And yes, we're here from the Garden back to in the Simpsons review. And if you already saw it, go and check it out. And this is another good episode. So the episode starts with Mrs. Carbopple teaching the class and getting annoyed with everybody with their calculators, and everybody looking for Principal Skinner. And even though he's at the door, and he said that he's got a visitor, and Bart accidentally, he spills what it is, which is a robot, which they wonder what the stars are like if you touch them, and what the Three Stooges' brains were. And Bart figures out and sees the guy that's actually operating the robot, which, he hits and starts choking Principal Skinner, and everybody's just all celebrating. And they go to the science place convention, which obviously Troy McClure is on the giant TV and talks about something about the car, and Homer's like, what about my car? And there's a lot of different things, like this magnifying glass that some kids are sticking their butt at, and the floors are bouncy, and the roof is all staticky, which they all go to different things, and Marge gets hit by a ball, and Maggie's just watching. Bart and Lisa look at this cool computer that one of the professors are showing off, and it's pretty much all burning, and Homer's at the sex kind of thing, just shooting at, I guess, women, I don't know. And then Krusty goes on there saying that if they missed him. And Bart on Mars at this place that's actually a Mars area, and he's skateboarding when he bumps into Ralph. And he gets told by Jimbo and Nelson, and Ralph gets stuck in a giant ear. And they had to use a giant ear thing, cotton swabs to get him out. And Chief Wiggum is, of course, he always gets stuck in different things. And Marge is wondering if he ever considered having a real friend, which, the Chief is actually saying that would be great, but who knows how that would go. And she talks to Ralph, and, of course, saying of how big her hair is. And Homer, all excited about pressing buttons, and Marge is like, okay, we're gonna be getting you a beer, and then it's off to bed. And he's like, woo, bad, beer, then bad. Like he's a child. Which, Homer can act like a child. I can tell you that. And Bart, obviously doing mischief stuff. And Marge tells him that he's not going anywhere, and she scheduled a play date for Bart, and it's actually Ralph. Yep. And they use those Chinese traps. And Marge trying to talk Bart into going, which then he gets it stuck on his tongue, and Marge is thinking how cool them two would be if they hung out together. And then she starts vacuuming, pretending like she can't hear Bart. So Ralph accidentally drops his ice cream in Bart's toy chest and gets ice cream all over and different things all over, and actually has a cool idea of playing hide and seek, which Marge finds Ralph And he says that he's been hiding in the closet for 2 hours, and Bart still hasn't found him. And yeah, Bart's not gonna find him. And Marge is telling Bart that it's too good of a day to be putting Ralph in a closet. And this funny thing that they're talking about, and Homer just cutting a hole in Bart's room and saying sorry. Which yeah, he goes to Ralph's house and he's telling him to catch up. Which yeah, the bullies are coming. Which they're filming, and he pushes Ralph in the bushes, and it turns out that they have thorns, and shows him the different, like the swing and the sandbox, which he said he's not allowed to go into deep end, and the rock where the leprechaun is, and he talks about the things that the leprechaun tells him, and tries to get Bart to go and play with some of his toys, which Bart's got a better idea of. He wants to see what Ralph's dad, the chief, has in his, where all the evidence and stuff that all the cops pick up, which Ralph says that they're not allowed to go in there, and Bart goes in anyway and sees all the stuff that the chief pretty much has in his closet, which even these evidence, like Simpson, or even Homer, which he's been to jail 3 times, and Marge, or 6 or 3 times, and Marge only went 2, which the chief comes home, and he sees that somebody's in his closet, which he then hurts his back. And he actually sees that Ralph made a friend with Bart, and while telling them that they're not allowed in there, which he says it's on the house to wear some of the things. So he puts the key to everything, yeah, a master key. It is a master key that the chief of police has, and it is a key to everything, every lock in Springfield. And Bart is thinking of all the good, awesome things that they could do with that. And Marge and Homer are trying to put some things and some messages in the machine to leave messages. And Bart actually saying that he's going to go sleep over at Ralph's house. And Marge is actually happy that he actually is being able to hang out with Ralph, and he's like, oh, when he thinks about the key. And Homer's just dancing and then saying after he dances and sings. And the chief is saying that Ralph is scared of the dark, so if he doesn't mind if he turns on the nightlight, and he says not at all. Like, good. Good grief, that nightlight. I tell you what, when I first saw that, nightlights are not all that bright, but when I saw that nightlight that Ralph has, I just died laughing. Like, that is just a beam of light, just... like, I was not expecting that. I'm telling you, I was not expecting that. And Bart and Ralph are sneaking into the chief and his wife's bedroom, trying to get the master key. And trying to get it, which they eventually do get it. And they go to different places with the master key, since it is a key to every lock in Springfield. And first they go to a toy store and start having fun, taking off these Barbie heads and suiting their bodies at the targets, and building a giant Lego brick, which that's really clever, and they start bouncing, and eventually they see Nelson and his gang, and they, of course, making fun of him, and making fun of Ralph and Bart, and he shows them the master key, and they think that they can be good hanging out after all, and thinking of all the cool ideas that they can do with the key to all of Springfield. Was they go to a abandoned prison and tells Bart to shut up, and Ralph doesn't want to go. He tells Bart that he just wants to go back home, and Bart is looking at Nelson's gang and Ralph, and he's like, "Sorry, Ralph." And again, Ralph does not want to go until Bart gives him back his key after he tells him to go home. And of course, they're filming too. Which, when they unlock it, they pretty much do monkey in the middle. Keep throwing the key, and they eventually throw it in the building. Yep, and the bullies go somewhere else. Well, Ralph and Bart have to retrieve the key after they get kicked in the mud. So they turn on the lights, and yeah, all the prison cells. And they see the key. That gets taken by a rat, which they chase the rat, get the key, and they see this room says dangerous, do not go in, or not enter. Which he enters, and yeah, those electric chairs they find. And he puts the whole wedding cake, little people, from when they were eating a whole wedding cake. And they pretty much start electrocuting it after Ralph unlocks it to alarm. And yeah, it starts melting and setting on fire. Which one of the guards are wondering if somebody is there. And they're playing Go Fish, and Bart trying to explain it to Ralph, which, yeah, the news is on. They see the news at the abandoned prison, and saying that the mayor is going to pretty much sit in the electric chair, and which, oh boy, they're pretty much going to endanger the mayor's life, which they're trying to get in contact with the prison, but they can't get in touch, so they got to try to think. Ralph mentions Lisa, which they get the idea. They start to strap the mayor onto the chair, and C launches a piece of paper to the rocket, and it ends up going past the prison into Mr. Burns' pocket in the power plant. And yeah, the mayor starts to get electrocuted, and everybody's watching on the TV, and Mr. Burns reads the paper and pretty much presses a button at his desk and turns off the whole electric chair. And they're all cheering Ralph, and Lisa's like, but the whole rocket was her idea, and give her some respect. And they're like, but Ralph, or do it for Ralph, which they're like, Ralph, 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 Ralph. And then the leprechaun comes back telling Ralph to do some mischief, like kill them all. Yeah, that's a leprechaun you would need to stay away from. But again, another good episode. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, which notifications turned on so you miss anything new. And let me know what y'all think. Catch you on the next one.